Today, we're looking at Lamy Blue, a review I've really put off doing. Now, as always, there's timestamps down below so you can skip around, but if you've got the time, not today, you're probably going to skip this after very little, but you can skip around, and I would appreciate you checking out the entire video. There is a link to the Blue Ink playlist down in the description. Now, if you're new here, I'm sorry for this being your first ink review to see. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. And to everybody else, welcome back. Now, the first and actually only 3 writing samples done for this ink are on Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia dot pad. Let's get into the first one, 90 GSM Clairfontaine. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. Yes, it's that hard to read. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, spots of shading because it is god-awful light to use. And this was straight from excuse me, straight from the cartridge that came with a pen in. I'm just going to talk about all of them at the same time. I'm not going to do the normal. There's shading spots because it is so incredibly light. The best version here is from the medium that is actually readable. The rest is not readable. Horrible. Scrubby shows color variation, and we get some. You couldn't recover if you smeared when you were writing. To make sure there's a range of experience with this ink, all the writing samples are always done with the same pens, as always, and yet it looks so horrible. This Jinhao 159 with a 1.1 stub. The Jinhao X450 with a medium, and a Jinhao X750 with an extra fine. Then I inked up a Lamy Safari with a 1.5 nib to write with for a day and to take my notes for this video. Now let's take a look at the second standard paper, 52 GSM Tomoe River. We have no bleeding, no ghosting, and it's going to become obvious when I turn the paper over. We're just going to talk about this as its entirety. It's largely unreadable and unusable, and I don't know what in the world. Now, I had 3 different cartridges to be able to use, and this is what I was experiencing. Only the medium that went down much wetter than the others, I guess. I don't know. You do see some shading that occurs. This is god-awful bad. I don't even... Talking about all of this, 8 seconds and 13 seconds to dry, but you can't read it. I'm going to skip it and move. This is going to be a very short video. I agree with Vita that there's a lot to learn by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. We see how light this blue is, incredibly light blue, and it is pushing its way straight up and getting lighter as it moves up. The one on the right is let dry for 10 minutes. And the line is a little bit darker. I wish the writing was even that dark. It is just horrible. Thankfully, next is the last paper, 80 GSM Rhodia dot pad. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. Again, just talking about all of it, the medium was the only one that's kind of readable. It does show some shading. It took 5 seconds and 8 seconds to dry, respectively. The scrubbies, this is bad. This is just so bad. I'm going to stop it there because I don't even really, oh my god, it's bad. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. The smear is allowed to dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, I wouldn't go near taking notes with this ink. Look at how light the writing is around the outside. The highlighter makes it even disappear. Now, the water is completely reactivating and lifting. Look at how nice this swatch is. Totally different than the writing. You just have to put down tons of ink to get this. It really only took water to get it out of my pen because it was so god-awful pale. The pen flush did everything that water did and a little bit more with only 30 seconds. Again, it only took water. The 1/3 bleach solution completely obliterates it, but there's barely anything on the paper. Now, there were additional writing samples. I just can't bear to look at them anymore, so the viscosity for the inks tested was 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Lamy Blue has a viscosity of 1.87, making it a wet ink. It should be darker. For the inks tested, the average dry time was 17 seconds, and the realm of normal was 13 to 21 seconds. Lamy Blue had an average dry time of 8 seconds, making it a very fast drying ink, which is good because you can't read it. Instead of finding inks that look like Lamy Blue, because who would make an ink that looks like this on purpose? I'd prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page, or at least is readable next to it. I went with an orange from Graf von Faber Castell, a burnt orange. Now, if you prefer a different color as a complement, then take a look down in the description where you're going to find links to different playlists. So what do I think of Lamy Blue? I don't say this very often, but I hate this ink. To get a usable tone, I had to dehydrate the ink about half the way. I put it all into a vial and let it out for a few days. My samples came from a pack of cartridges. I hate it. I haven't said that on very many inks, but I hate this. I never want to see it again. This is a review I didn't want to do. So what nib and pen give the best writing experience with this ink, if there is a best writing experience? After dehydrating it about halfway, I found that a wet fine put a usable tone down on the page. Now, this is a review that I know is going to get hated, and so be it. It is what it is from what I have. I hope you got something out of this video. I know this is bad. Tomorrow, we're going to look at a much more usable blue, Noodler's V-Mail Midway Blue.